Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm very excited today to continue our webinar series around the Project Management Next Generation book. And today, we are missing now Al Zaytoun that was supposed to be with me, but he had an emergency. So he may join us in a couple of minutes. So just making sure that I'm using my project management and my planning skills. So I'm just starting on time to make sure we respect you that are listening to this episode. Okay. And today I am really excited because we will be interviewing the CIO of ASGC, a construction company based in Middle East. And his expertise is on digital transformation. And one of the most fascinating pieces that he brought to us in the book was this: how to apply and implement technology in a non-technology based structure like construction. And I am personally a suspect because Amjad, I am a chemical engineer with a PhD in civil engineering. So, and I work a lot on construction projects, and I know many challenges. And construction is a challenge everywhere. But what we see in Middle East is absolutely unbelievable. So thank you very much. So before we start, Majed, I would love that you introduce to us yourself and your role and a little bit more about ASGC. Okay? Uh, Tell us this. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Ricardo, for the invite. I'm really very happy to be here and very excited to speak about our digital transformation journey. I'm Majid Hawari, CIO of GC Group. Basically, I'm a civil engineer. Used to start my career as a site engineer to understand well the construction industry and practice, have hands-on the site activities. I've done many studies in the project management, and I got few of the international certificates on project management. So I'm certified PMP, EVP, PSP, and most of the international certificates. Then I had the postgraduate diploma in project management, a master degree in project management, a PhD in technology in construction industry. So this is me. I have like 20 years of experience in the construction. Most of them are with the contractors and project management and governmental entities. About ASGC, we are a vertically integrated group in construction. So we are one of the biggest main contractors in the Middle East, proudly saying that. We have completed many prestigious projects in different sectors like hospitality, mixed use, the social infrastructure, hospitals, and many other projects. We were part of the great success of Dubai within the last 30 years. The company founded in 1989. So we were part of the construction of Dubai Airport. You must have.
Wow.
I think many of the our audience today have visited or just had transit in Dubai Airport. We constructed the Coca-Cola Arena, Mohammed bin Rashid Library. We have a great participation in Expo 2020. We're the main contractor of like more than 10 pavilions. One of them is one of the biggest one is the Sustainability Pavilion, and many other projects during the journey of ASGC. So we are a vertically integrated. So we own our supply chain in different trades in construction, like MEP, facade, fit out, and trying to have more control on our supply chain by being have such kind of integration.
Yeah, that's wonderful because when we were just waiting to come online, I told you about the Dubai airport and how much I like the airport, and because for me, of course, I travel a lot, and for me that the logistic and the infrastructure to make travel more comfortable for passengers is incredible. For example, the hotel after the X-ray, and these very few airports have this. A place that you can just sleep, and then when you go down, you are at the gate. You don't need to go and do anything. You are in the international area after the X-ray, and this is really really incredible, and to see how the hub works. So it's something very nice. But I want also, you said about 20 years. You are originally from Egypt, but living in Dubai for 20 years. So can I hear from you a few remarks or highlights on your project management journey? So the history that brought you to the seat you are occupying now on HSGC.
Yeah, great. I started the journey of project management like 20 years back. As I mentioned, I started to be a civil engineer. So the first interaction with project management came during my undergraduate study. In the region, project management and scheduling, Primavera and such things in late 90s, it was not that famous. It was at almost the starting stage. So it was a few people started their career in that area. I remember it was tough to us even to use Primavera at that time because it's difficult to secure the soft copy. So this was the beginning. My graduation project was actually in project management. And then we started to implement proudly in one of the major main contractors in Egypt, the Arab contractors. So we started the application of project management, scheduling, cost management, and all different knowledge area we know in project management. Then I try to cover this with the kind of continuous education. So the trend of project management is quite going fast, and in learning and new applications, new technology, integration not only at the developer of or governmental entity started to be in the main contractor area as well. Then I moved to Dubai in like 2003, 5 years after the graduation. At that time, again, the area of project management was a little bit new in the region, but it was one of the fast-growing regions in using the project management at the basis of managing such kind of mega projects and infrastructure and the great journey of Dubai. So a lot of applications of projects management, we were encouraged by the governmental entities and the support with the government to implement any new techniques. They are ready to do multiple POCs, see the improvement, moving with the art and science of project management in time management, cost management, risk, supply chain management, and all such interesting different knowledge area in the region. A lot of the continuous education is happening here. So conferences were one of the major things. We are all learn and meet with the professional from different backgrounds, different industries across the globe, coming to Dubai, joining all together in forums, seminars, conferences here. And personally, I was like a big fan of traveling across the globe to see what are the latest techniques and technology in project management. Then being a fan of technology as well, we started to incorporate with the project management knowledge and using the technology and trying to learn from different industries. Construction industry is a little bit criticized of being outdated and late in adoption of technology, but we try to change such known characteristic of the industry by learning from others and implement in the construction industry in Dubai
Fantastic.
and in the UAE generally.
Yeah, fantastic. And what you said, you mentioned one point about learning. It's really incredible how the Middle East can create these kind of very impactful, high level events on project management. So I was a couple of months ago in Saudi Arabia talking about project management at the Global Project Manager Forum. I will be at the Dubai International Project Management Forum speaking next January, and it's incredible how they can congregate this. And on the same line, today I watched the presentation of a research coming from our colleagues of Brightline Initiative, a PMI initiative that I led. I had the chance to lead for 5 years, 4 years, and they spoke about exactly digital transformation and the role of transformation. So I want to talk in your paper and in your article in the book. You address things that derail the digital transformation in the construction industry. Uh, what do you find unique in this industry regarding digital transformation? What is unique in construction that you believe that create a different environment for digital transformation?
Yeah. Um, Construction industry in the region, and I believe generally across the globe, it's always criticized of being fragmented, known of being labor intensive, low in profitability and profit margin, not attractive to the new generations. Sometimes some criticism that addresses the kind of male industry as well. It is not quite friendly industry. It's kind of second loss to hunting in even applying technology. So all these kind of inefficiencies addressed to the construction industry, we see it as a kind of like area for improvement. It's a kind of opportunity. Usually we deal with the inefficiencies as an opportunity to improve. So all those things could be a kind of do the, and if we put all such kind of criticism, we will have the full pictures of derailers of the construction industry, of the digital transformation, I mean, in construction industry. The major one is low on profitability and very slim profit margin. So this will have another criticism, which is the absence of R&D budgets to develop the construction industry. So one of the strategies we were discussing how to with this low profitability margin and very low investment in the industry in R&D to learn from other industries. So it's important not to start everything from the scratch. We can learn from others, the more developed industries. So these are one of the things. Changing the culture of the construction industry and the people operating in the industry to more be dependent on technology and trying to adopt the concept of optimization, efficiency, improvement of performance could be a solution to the to what the known characteristic of low profitability, and then trying to take this as a kind of investment to improve profitability. So the usual question, should we improve the profit margin first and then do R&D and improve in the industry, or use the technology and the transformation to have a kind of more optimization, to improve efficiency, to improve the performance, which will lead to improve the profit margins of the industry, especially when it comes to us at AIGC. You are representing the main contractor arm. Usually, even during the supply chain of the construction industry, the main contractors are even lower in profitability than developers, or and have most of the risks, especially if most of the contracts we are doing, it's kind of lump sum contract within the nature of the
turnkey contracts.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I have one follow-up question in the same. Of course, you mentioned several items on the technology side, but at the the same time, you need to handle with people, okay, and talent. And you spoke about that, about building this called digital talent.
Yeah.
So can you share with us your best practices on building this, and how you could support this cultural aspect of the transformation? Because transformation, there is an article that I love from HBR, from Professor Benan Tabrizi, and he talks digital transformation is not about technology, because there is a human component of the change. So can you explain to me how you built this digital talent, which were your best practices on that?
Great. Uh, we are trying in ASGC to understand how to do it to get people involved in the journey of digital transformation. As you just mentioned, people is the biggest factor and one of the most important aspects. So the pillars we are depending in the digital transformation are three pillars. Usually it's technology, process, and people. So the easiest part in this formula is the technology. Technology is there. People are doing research across different disciplines and the industries, and we can see how to do a feasible implementation. When it comes to the biggest challenge, which is the people, we will be faced with the change management exercise, which is the huge derailer of the digital transformation. The people cultural resistance of people in the construction industry, that we are used to do what we are doing since years and we are fine with it. People believe that having all the tools in their hands and the power of info, that we know everything and we should have the control of everything and confidentiality of information, and those things are really what kind of a big challenge we have faced. So dealing with this challenge is trying to changing the culture by getting people interested in what we are doing. Yani I used to use an example. We are not almost everyone is using a smartphone. Now you don't have to convince anyone that smartphone is better than the fixed landline or other things. Everyone believes because they see by themselves how it's important to their day-to-day activity, life, connectivity with friends, doing work, getting email just directly with them, so they don't have to log on to the desktop and all such things. So we try to adopt the same concept to make the technology and the transformation reliable and connected with day-to-day activity. So we are not forcing anyone to use the technology, but we are getting their buy-in together. Let's see what are the problem and where we can have a solution. Not just to force them to implement, but to let them participate in the journey itself. So having the buy-in from them, and definitely one of the major aspects is buying in of the management and getting the consent of the top management. Trying to link the transformation strategy and business technology strategies with the strategic objectives of the corporate, and putting the transformation and technology at the heart of the strategy of the corporate will help everyone to participate in the journey. Because finally, it is not a destination. It's a journey without end. It's continuous improvement of what we are doing every day. Under the theme of we are aiming to optimize, to improve the efficiency, to improve the performance.
Fantastic. And how you thought on shifting from the work of the project teams from the output based work to outcome based work, because this is one of the key challenges, is that
Yeah.
most of the time the project teams they are stuck on the output concept. Okay, I need to build this, I need to do this, I need to buy that, but they don't see the big picture of what a delay in their tasks or what a cost overrun in their task will mean, and how the technology can help on this. So how was your strategy on shifting this mindset?
Yes. Yeah. The first thing of the strategy we put in the business technology, we are calling the part in ASGC is business technology. We moved from having a normal IT department, information technology, to have things related to the business itself. So under the theme of any cost we are doing to the technology and transformation, it's a kind of investment in the future of the company, in the future of the delivering project, in the future of how people can improve their work. So it is not a cost anymore, it's a kind of investment. So when it comes to investment, we will adopt the concept of doing any business plan. Doing investment, doing any project, we should have a case study where it's going to happen, how to link it with the day-to-day activity and overall picture of the project delivery, having a kind of RODI, return on the digital investment, a kind of using technology to differentiate ourselves from others, a kind of technology that will improve the control of the people in the site, improve the connectivity with the people at site, with the people at the head office, trying to, any typical project manager, he's working with the goal, what we used to call it golden triangle. He's managing time, cost, and the quality. And usually in the construction sites, we have a saying that time, cost, and the quality, choose maximum 2. You cannot choose the 3. So we are trying to change the formula that if you improve the performance with the technology, trying to have more control on the resources, definitely you can control the time. You understand if you are losing the efficiency, assume you're having like 1% profit margin in an activity. So this is the maximum you can achieve, or really you can achieve more. Could it be like 1.1 in each activity if this is done, especially with the kind of labor and equipment intensive industry. So, and especially in the Middle East, as the cost of labor is lower than what there in US or Europe. So the factor of having more labor at site was quite accepted, that yes, we can put more people in the activity since it is not costly, and the cost, the CTC, the cost to the company is not high. But what if you can reduce it and improve your profit margin? What if you can differentiate yourself from others? So one of the clear examples, when we started to use drones in construction, the first question, what we are going to do with drones? What is going to add value? But when it comes to the real application, that we need to do logistics planning at the early stage of the projects, connection with the main roads around the project for material delivery and site in and out for the trucks and material, staff, labor, and all this. So having a visibility using the drone from the beginning is going to reduce the cost of reallocating the site offices or logistics or stores during the construction. It's going to optimize even preliminary costs at early stage. So this was quite obvious. In addition to adding more value to the client, that you have the recording of the progress of the site. And even before, we started to use drone from 2015 in ASGC. Wow. Yeah. And we were the first company to use drones in construction. And I remember when we went to the Dubai Civil Aviation to get the license, there was a question, why you need drones? Drones is almost for marketing companies and for official use. You are a main contractor. There is no use. We have never got this request before. So we wrote a case study where we are going to use. And we used to have even a channel for each project, which we are keeping the continuous weekly or bi-weekly drone shotting on this channel. So the consultant, client, and all stakeholders around the project, they can log in from any place. They don't have to attend the weekly site progress meeting or have the site walk on weekly basis to see the progress. They can see it there and it's recording. So even the dispute, what's happening, where are the progress, where are we compared to the target, it's clear to everyone. We have nothing to hide. It's a quite transparent, open discussion.
Yeah, fantastic. The drone case is interesting because what is remarkable on your note is that you said 2015. So in 2022, maybe it's more normal people thinking about drones and this, but at that time, I would say a construction use. It's 7 years ago, so it was not like what we see today. So it was, of course, a cultural shift for people to approve that, to understand why do you need that, because we built before without that, but
Yeah,
these
exactly.
brought you a different perspective, reduced risks, and it's excellent. And these is probably part of what we call this industry 4.0 implementation. So can you talk a little bit more about how was this experience with you with industry 4.0 and the collaboration of the team, and the potential challenges you face?
Yeah, sure. Let me quickly say something related to the drones as well. When we had the pandemic situation and the lockdown by
Mhm.
almost Q1 2020, the value of drones, and people are most of the people who are not in day-to-day activity at site, they are operating from home and working remotely, still they have the visibility. So uh, 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 the value of one of the industry 4.0 and technologies and transformation was quite clear at that time, that yes, it's we need it, yeah, we have to keep doing the drone shooting and recording this. When it comes to the industry 4.0 concept, again, yeah, the pandemic situation, I see it was like a great push to the construction industry to move quickly into the technology and different offering of industry 4.0, and depend more and changing the culture. Yani before it was not accepted that people doesn't have to travel to a site to attend a meeting, and they are attending from their offices, or even if they are on vacation, they are attending from different countries. This was not accepted before. Because of the pandemic, it was a push for technology, a push for more collaboration, a push for more utilization of them, building information modeling in different dimensions, 3D and 4D, and now 5 and 6D as well. It was a great push and help for that. Going again to the industry 4.0 and the ultimate objective of construction, we need in construction again to improve the performance, improve the efficiency, and having more control on what we are doing to improve the profit margin. So using a BIM as like a computer generated environment, which is mimicking the real asset to into the what we call digital asset. So again, it's an added value as a clear example for reducing any mistakes in the coordination between different trades, as an example. Getting a shop drawing ready, doing any variations or change order or quantity take off or quantity any change in the design during the construction, and seeing the impact in a shorter time with the a few lesser number of people, and with a clear control and visibility on what's going to happen. So having
Yeah.
opening as a clear example for MEP services, and coordinating the builders work with the civil work and architecture and fit out, it's quite easy using the BIM technology. Started to move to the next era, which is even connecting the 4D aspect of the BIM 3D, of having the time, so you are visualizing the how you are building the project versus the baseline you are doing, and filtering where are the delay, so there is no room for dispute anymore.
Yeah.
Moving to some offering of Industry 4.0 of AI, big data, machine learning, IoT, and recently blockchain as well is going to add more visual control on what we are doing in activities. And again, going towards the magic words of performance, efficiency, and optimization.
Yeah. Do you know what for me is absolutely incredible when we talk about BIM? And I just want to highlight this to those who are listening who are not from the field. But BIM is what is called the building information modeling, and you really build the prototype and everything digitally, including the assets. How many bricks do you need? How many cubic feet or cubic meters of cement you need? And you can see these in visual. So for those who are used to see Gantt charts, Gantt bars, and this, no, you see the wall, and the wall being built or not being built, and you understand quickly where the delay is, which kind of material you are using more or less. And this is one of the key components of this industry 4.0 we are talking here. And it's incredible. And my question to you, how was culturally speaking? So imagine for your engineers and this working with that, and of course, how did they feel about? I would say it's quite different from, for example, what I learned at the school as an engineer. Probably you. So how was this? I would say this mindset change for them on using this.
Yeah. At the beginning, it was quite big challenge, even to convince a client that we are going to use BIM. They are used to have the 2D printed drawing, and you have to submit for each aspect multiple drawing at different level of the shop drawing, builder's work at the end as built. But when they started to see how collaboration and integration is happening between different trades, so any redundant work and quality issues at site is quite reducing by using drones, and even visualizing the impact of any change if client want to do any change order during the construction, or doing a kind of variation, see the impact before it's really we go to site, and then he has the control to decide yes or no to do it, not only with the like estimated 2D silly drawings. It was quite important to them. And even especially when we move to the aspect that we have more detailed and increase the detail of the BIM drawing. Yani BIM, if for those people who are not using BIM, they are level of details up to 500. So we have like 200, 250, 300, 350. So whenever you increase more details, you are ending with the client with the kind of mimicking his real asset with the digital asset, which he can use in the future after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever is the asset life cycle, for any future change, or even demolishing the building, knowing where are the services, or integrating the facility management aspect within the full, what we call the full project life cycle of the any asset. It's quite to be important that now it is not connected, that the relation with the between the contractor or the people who are doing the design ends once we build the asset and hand over to the client and leave him alone. No, he's going there with his fully detailed as built digital asset, which he can use in the future as a kind of facility management, or integrating with the operator if he has operator. So it's more coordination and more control, in not only during the 3-4 years of building the asset, but during the entire life cycle of the asset itself. So the concept of just having the things over once we build, to move to the entire the project life cycle, and even life cycle costing, which is started to be integrated within the sustainability and net zero plans for any client in the future.
Yeah, that's absolute. This makes me remember one case when I was in Denmark and I saw Maersk. and they were building these large ships, these massive ships, and they used bin. And one of the key aspects that they said is it's called the triple E, means for efficiency, energy, and environment. And one of the things they said mostly is that we use this because when it's time to decommission the ship, to dismantle the ship, we know exactly what is the composition of each piece, which kind of, how many tons of each material can we get. And then we can, when we scrap the ship, we can pretty much lose nothing. We can recycle everything, and this will be extremely environmental friendly. But look, before we go, we saw here my dear Al finally joined us here. So you missed it. Al had a challenge, so he was unable to join us. But now, Al, it's your time, my dear friend, to ask a question or to make a comment.
Thank you, and thanks for accommodating. And it's a classic project management story, right? I told you I'll be 5 minutes, right? Look at the time and look at the great discussion you've had with Maged. Maged really is a great friend, a great history, and I don't know how much of anything you mentioned about that, but literally the interactions I've had with you and the inspiration I've seen in your dedication to this profession was fantastic. So I really appreciate that, and also for the audience, Maged has received some great international awards that confirm also, the impact he and his organization and others have been able to drive, especially the topic he contributed to the book around digitization, and it's a unique industry, Maged. So maybe one last question, in case you have not touched on it enough for our participants. This industry is unique, and I'm sure you talked about some of the uniqueness of the industry, but to truly capitalize on technology and digitization beyond just the fancy aspect of technology, beyond the obvious, which is, yes, I can get metrics and trends, and yes, I maybe have better dashboarding capabilities and so forth. How are you getting to a place where it changes the way of working for the next generation, which is a big part of the focus Ricardo and I had in the book? How's the impact on the future generation? What can they get out of digitization to work differently, think differently, enjoy results of their work differently? If you haven't addressed that, if you have, wonderful. But if you want to add something here towards the end, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, great. I need to mention something before I answer this question, that Dr. Zaitoun was my first ever mentor in the project management. The first time I have been introduced to the project management in the professional environment was through him, when I attended just a kind of first lecture in my life after the graduation and being the industry. He was invited by the CEO of the Arab contractors in Egypt, 1998, to tell us what's PMI, Project Management Institute, and what are the different knowledge area within the PMP certificate. And since that date, I was a big fan of the project management, and I said, yes, he's my role model. I have to follow him. So I feel really proud of that, and feel proud that after this long journey that I'm here to speak in front of you. So thank you for being my first mentor in project management.
Most welcome. Thank you for that very much. And it's the receiving end is what matters. It got to you, it resonated with you, which is really what matters. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm answering the question how technology is changing the game for the next generation and what's happening. I see it at different levels. Level related to the corporate itself, and level related to the individuals are doing that transformation within the industry and within specifically my organization. So changing the way we think in our data in AirGC as an example. One of the clear example, we do pricing for projects. So we might price like 100 projects every year. 100 project mean resources, time allocation, cost we are paying, data we are doing every time, redundant work we are doing, and sometimes we start the exercise from the scratch at the beginning. So changing the mindset to be like data-driven organization, so dealing with our data as a kind of asset in the organization is going to add value for the future projects, for the efficiency, for the offering we are doing to the client, for the value we are adding to the industry, and for our even branding and differentiation from other competitors in different markets we operate. So this is one of the example at the corporate level. At the individual level, I mentioned at the beginning that usually one of the criticisms to the construction industry, it's like not attractive to the next generation because it's outdated, it's silly, they don't have any room for improvement. Now it's changing. That people are coming, want to join, want to develop their career, coming with an idea. They have a place which they can learn anything from different industries and implement, doing a POC, small projects, test within the construction industry. So one of these things we everyone knows about the Bitcoin, and sometimes we mix between Bitcoin and the blockchain. So when we said that we are going to do a POC on blockchain and the construction industry, which we have done in Sustainability Pavilion in Expo in 2019, so people said, what we will do with the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? He said, no, it's different. It's blockchain. So we are going to use blockchain to control our supply chain, especially when we have international supply chain for a specific item. So people are keen. Next generation are there. People are coming with the new ideas. And at that time, we came on idea, let's be a hub for innovation for the construction industry. So we launched internally what we call an ASGC Academy. ASGC Academy, it has multiple dimensions. One of the dimensions which we feel proud of it, that we are asking all staff below 30 years to submit ideas. We have we have for all staff, for the seniors, juniors, and managers, and the C-suite level and directors. But we were keen about the new generations who joined the industry in the last just maximum in the 2 years experience in the industry, to come up with ideas to develop the industry. So we recognize this idea, help them to develop, and even if we can move to the part of monetizing the idea in a small business model, they have a chair on this to even monetize on their idea within the organization and getting recognized by the management of what they are trying to do.
Fantastic. No, thank you. Very well done. And I love, it's music to my ears, the pieces about value and really finding different ways, both for the organization and the individual like that. So nice segmentation and nice addressing of the concern that might be still remaining in that industry. Well done and much appreciated. Ricardo, I think this has been a great session, and
I think. Look, we could spend hours here. I'm passionate about this topic, okay, and of course for personal reasons, being an engineer, but we are really running out of time. So I want really to start with you again. What would be your piece of advice, okay, for those who are listening and are struggling to change culture and implement digital transformation, to adapt to technology in their line of business? What would be your advice or your learnings that you want to share with them?
Since I'm in construction industry, I'll try to concentrate on the construction industry. So I advise everyone that the room for improvement in the industry is quite big. Again, it's a lot of challenge in the construction industry. Unfortunately, a lot of inefficiencies in the construction industry, which is an opportunity to improve, to challenge, to come with new ideas, to develop, and to be one of the first runners to change how the construction projects are delivered. Especially with what we are all have seen during the pandemic, that technology is not a fancy or nice terminology to use. It's something we need to deliver the projects. And then later, everyone, I think in the last couple of years, seen what's happening in the climate change. So construction industry again is addressed to be one of the, and especially depending on the cement and what it used to be called the cement is one of the biggest reason for pollution. But still, we need to have buildings. We need to have places to live, places to work, and all this. So including the sustainability concept and net zero plans and taking the rule for the corporates to help the environment to survive and we survive with it. It's again, it's like a kind of blue ocean which you have sky's the limit for the development and improvement.
That's a great point. Ricardo, that's a great point. I think I don't know if you wanted to comment on this further, but I think it's a very positive note, Maged, and the blue ocean kind of a mindset says to the next generation and to many of the participants today that it is not a traditional industry. It is an industry of the future. The room is large when it comes to also serving the top agenda items for the globe, basically, including the high emphasis you've had on sustainability and those kinds of points as well. So it is great to really end on such a note. And it sounds like Ricardo may have had some technology challenges, different challenges than the ones I had initially. And so I really thank you for the comments also you mentioned earlier. And these are all serving the topic of project management next generation. And it's really focusing on how organizations excel and excellence. I think what's really good about the points you brought to the discussion, excellence is not just a matter of excelling when it comes to operating or achieving results of projects and programs. It's got to be tied to a bigger mission and a better impact and a bigger outcome. And I think throughout the questions and interactions, both with Ricardo mostly in this session and some of the last ones you highlighted, it's fantastic, and it's a pleasure that you've had the opportunity. Usually Ricardo would finish with some final thoughts to thank the participants and also thank Wiley, because Wiley, I believe, has done a very good job in helping us with also reaching out to many of the organizations just like yourself and others and bring them to the mix. So I thought the value we got out of the book and the learning even Ricardo and I and Dr. Curzon have had is the richness of the diversity of the experiences of contributors like yourself, and also the cross-industry representation that you brought. So one more time, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the time. Thank you for staying a little extra for participants to get the opportunity to listen more to your inputs and insights. Ricardo, final thoughts.
Yeah. Look, I just want to apologize, but it's risk management. For some reason here, I was disconnected, so I am just connecting from my phone. That was my plan B. First, Maged, I want to thank you. For those who are listening, Maged is joining from UAE, and it's now close to 1 a.m. At night, and he not only donated his time to write and to be with us on this article, but also to share his knowledge and his insights here. So, Maged, thank you very much. Thank you from my heart for being with us today, and also for contributing to the book. I have a couple of questions here I received, but mostly on the book. Some people asked about a translation of the book into Brazilian Portuguese. Hélio, there is no plan currently. The book is truly big, so we need look the size. So it's not easy for us to translate. We need to figure out what would be the best way of doing
that. Ricardo, we definitely will bring that up to Wiley with our contact with Wiley. And it has been in the past. Some of the books definitely has gone through different translations. So, but we'll bring that, and we can circle back to some of the questions.
Yeah, it would be a dream for me as Brazilian and a Portuguese speaker. So it would be great. But
I'm sure Maged would want that in Arabic as well first. But
yeah, definitely.
Of course. So another thing I want to tell you is that my dear friend Al managed to get and to convince Wiley to give 20% off for everyone watching this webinar series at wiley.com. You just need to use the coupon code KPM20, okay, to get that. Now we will move next week to the last session, okay, to our last session. So if you want to watch the previous ones, you just need to follow this link, rvarg.as/nextgen, and you can watch, including this one, in your favorite platform, so you can recap and take the highlights with you, okay? And also register to receive remarks for our last session that will happen next Thursday, not this Thursday, but in 1 week from now, that will close this series. So one more time, I really want to thank you very much for joining me on that. Majed, thank you very much. My dear Al Zaytoun, my dear friend Al, thank you very much for your time, okay? And thank you all for watching and participating with us, okay? Until next week, okay, with our last episode. Thank you very much, okay? Thank you.